Hey family, it's your girl Dr. Nina, and I'm here with another video to help us glow and grow together. And this topic is near and dear to my heart, and it's friendship. And mainly I wanted to talk about this because I had posted a post on my community tab as well as Instagram. If you ain't following me over there, you need to be. I posted this to reverence a best friend of mine of nearly 20 years. And I saw some of your comments. I saw the positive comments, and I saw some of the people losing hope in finding friendships, especially in adulthood. And some even asked, could you please do a video on the importance of friendships and what this looks like and how to make those friends? And I know it's not always easy. I get it. I've been there. Friendships are not easy to come by, nor are they easy to nurture. So let me read that post to y'all. Can we talk about friendship? Just a few weeks ago, I had the joy of helping to throw one of my bestest friends an amazing day to celebrate her family and new addition. Why is this so special? Well, Lindsay and I have had so many life events that have seemingly happened around the same time. From grad school, where we met nearly 20 years ago, friendships, relationships, career pursuits, breakups, marriage, gains, losses, sisters of AKA, and more. And now, motherhood. So happy we actively worked while waiting on the right ones. I am so happy and overjoyed for you, friend. You will be an amazing mother, and I count it joy to be with you through this amazing phase of our lives. Now, I will say that that post was just written on that day because I realized how blessed I am to have not only all my best friends, but those that have walked with me in a lot of situations and a lot of difficulties as well, not just the up times. That's the thing about friendship. It's not easy because it's the ups and the downs. So today we're going to talk about 5 mistakes, 5 that you might be making while trying to get friendships as an adult, okay? And not only that, how to attract those genuine or long-lasting friendships, because I really want to help you with that just with some of the things I've done. And I've had some pitfalls too, y'all. I ain't perfect at this. And it is hard. So I recognize that, but I want to hear your comments down below. We need the engagement. I want to make sure others are able to join in and chime in on this conversation. So comment, let me know what you would add to the list, some of the things you struggle with and what you're working on now. And go ahead, pull up a chair, get a good drink or whatever. Mine is water these days, okay? Little baby, we can't do nothing else. So make sure you pull up and let's go ahead and get into this discussion. You can get up again. Before I jump into these 5 things, I really wanted to make sure that I gave my definition of what a good friend is. And it's not going to fit everybody's definition, but it usually encompasses what most of us are looking for, especially in adulthood, even though most of my best friends have come through childhood, teenage years, and even those early 20s with me. So let me read some of those things. I took notes. So let's start with that definition. A real friend is someone that you can rely on, or that I can rely on. And you know you can rely on them to show up for you when you're in need. And the same for them. They know they can rely on you. Real friends are people that will continue to do so or be there for you and make it a priority to them because they want to make sure you know that they love you and they care. They protect you in front of you and in your absence. And you can trust them with your highs and your lows. I'm talking about the mucus cries, baby. Them throwing up cries. Them bad situations, them horrible breakups, but also the ups. They can be there even when they're not in a good mood, but can support you through your wins. And that's what friendship means to me. I've realized both professionally and personally for me, I've seen where people mess up with friendships, and I've done this one too. But we expect for a friend to be everything to us at all times. Hear me out here. We expect for a person to be our confidant, our cheerleader, our advisor, our mentor, our church buddy, everything. And not even reverence the fact that they have their own lives, their own desires, their own things that they're going through, their other relationships that they're maintaining. You are not the only center to their world. Friends are human too. okay? And they may have their own situation set up with limitation. And it's unfair and unrealistic of us to expect for them to fulfill all of these roles for us, including like a shoulder to cry on at all times. I know that I've been through so many ups and downs with friends and so many life differences. Some of us have gotten married at different times. We've been searching and chasing our careers at different times. Some of us have entered workforces and done other things that have really taken of our time, but we still find time to invest in those friendships, whether it be a weekly or bi-weekly text or call, whether it be just to see what they're doing, maybe if you can stop by. But we also have to learn to give grace. They're not going to be able to be our everything just because we need them at the time. I had a good friend of mine, one of my best friends, Stella. She said to me one time, she may not even remember this, that I'm not the friend that you're going to be able to call and just talk on the phone with all day, because I'm always busy. I always got something going on. But you best believe if you call me in the middle of the night and you're on the side of the road and you need a new tire, I'm going to figure out how to get it to you. I'm going to get up. I'm going to make sure I show up when it's necessary. I might not be able to key all the time, but I'm that friend that's got your back. And that meant something to me, because I'd rather have that person than the person that just keys with me just to know my business. So you have to consider the quality of the relationship. It's not always about the quantity of how much we used to go out and how much we used to do. As you get older, and most of you all that watch me are in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s and beyond, you have more responsibilities in life. You cannot just spend time listening about, the horrible boyfriend, the horrible husband, the horrible girlfriend, the horrible wife. You can do those things sometimes, but some things have to be balanced, right? You also can't spend all your time at the club. You can't spend all your time at the church house where they go just because they want you to go all the time. I'm just giving you different examples. You cannot expect for people to drop everything for you just because that's what you believe a friend is. You have to realize what they add to your life, even in their absence, okay? Some of my best friends are not people I'm talking to every day. I can guarantee you that. I don't talk to nobody every day. Some of my best friends, we just have occasional check-ins. We send each other thoughtful gifts. We talk here and there. We show up for the important instances in our lives. We make sure each other is covered. We ensure that we're trying to give comfort to each other when things happen, when parents are ill or pass on, or other issues happen, or there's a job loss or things like that. We're showing up. We're showing up at those times where we're absolutely needed. And it may not be a good key on the couch every week. However, we have someone that we know we can love and we can trust, even with those high points and low points in our lives. And with that, you have to also make time to foster and nurture those relationships as well. We know some of us will get in a relationship. I've done this too. Get in a relationship, turn around when we break up with the person. We ain't got nobody to talk to. We got to stop that too. Relationships take nurturing. And I'm not talking again about the everyday talking. I'm talking about just even checking in on the person, making sure they're good. Do they need anything? Do they have anything special coming up that you can support? Do they need you to do some things with them and their children? Whatever it is, when you call someone your friend, you make time for them in your life, no matter how busy you are. And the thing is, most of my friends can't talk to me all the time either. So I want to make it clear that it's on both sides. But we've shown love and we show each other that we can show up in those times that we are absolutely needed. And not only that, even when we're not needed. I know a place that I've almost messed up on, but because of my thickness of skin and transparency, it just doesn't work. But some of us worry too much about what our friends will think instead of showing up as our authentic selves. Now, what this does is it supports superficial relationships. What's important in a friendship is for us to show up exactly as who we are, so that our friends can appreciate us for exactly who we are, with no surprises. And if you come around people who don't accept that, bump them. Authenticity will always be key in every relationship, and that includes romantic ones. Not being genuine creates distrust and distance. What I love for me that has been a lifesaver is that I can be exactly who I am with my friends. One of the best things I can say has happened even just recently with this pregnancy, which is huge for me right now, is that most of my friends have been able to comfort me in times where I'm questioning, like, what is life? How am I gonna be a mom? How am I gonna do these things? And because they know me so well, they can call to the carpet lots of my traits and character that I didn't even think about that will come in handy, and not only come in handy, but be treasured as a mother. You need that reinforcer. You need that refresher. And I don't think it's ever too old. You're never too old to find that. And I think that the internet will tell you all day you don't need friends and you're too old to find friends. That's not true. We just have to go about it in a way that allows us to meet those that we naturally connect with and that we can show up authentically to, so that they can get to know us and we can get to know them. So in those moments that we doubt ourselves, we have people who believe in us. What I did to find a lot of my friends is look for natural connections so that I was able to maintain long-lasting relationships. What I mean is sometimes these connections might come through things that you just enjoy doing, whether it's walks through your community or going to your community center, going to church, going to your neighborhood coffee shop, or even just in places where you travel. I've met people in various different places. One of my best friends, Jelena, Dr. Austin, I met her at a conference presenting my research. And, I never really met, you meet people, you touch and go, you exchange business cards, but it was nice to connect with someone. And we've maintained a friendship for dang near, oh my God, it's been a while. It's been a long time. It's entering into the teens of years. And what I can say is that was such a genuine connection because it was a conference where we both had interest and we enjoyed the subject matter and the topics, and we were able to collaborate with one another in our work. And not only that, that led to a strong relationship that led to sisters who could support one another. We're also members of the same sorority as well, Alpha Kappa Alpha. So it really helped to deepen our connection as far as how we were walking in life. We're both professors. Well, she's now department chair, amen. And we've been able to connect on different levels. What this taught me is you're not going to always find friends in a friendship place. I mean, there's not going to be this perfect place where somebody walks up to you and they just become your friend. You're going to have to do some groundwork. You're going to have to keep your eyes peeled. And with that, also have discernment. Not everybody is your friend. Not everybody going to be cool with you. And sometimes establishing those relationships takes time. You can't just trust everybody. We know this world doesn't offer itself to that. But I dare you, I double dog dare you to just start spending a little bit more time with your eyes and ears peeled in the places that you enjoy, if you even have places that you enjoy, or start to at least try to get to those places so that you can make connections and meet people that have similarities. And I ain't saying be friends with everybody, but if they have similar thoughts, feelings, experiences, and they seem very sane and you can pretty much see that they are, then they might be good to go. Another thing we do is we forget that we all bring baggage to relationships. You ain't baggage free, baby. You ain't baggage free. You ain't Southwest. Your baggage ain't free. You want to make sure you understand that you come with a lot as well. We all have previous experiences that shape who we are right now and how we react to certain things. If you don't understand and respect this, then you don't even understand your own behaviors. Now, I'm not saying to let your past justices and injustices and issues and difficulties ruin every relationship or friendship that you have. No, that's not what I'm saying. But know that sometimes those things will come up, they will erupt, and they will affect the relationships and friendships that you have, and vice versa. The people that you connect with will have those same experiences with you. And that's where grace comes in. What I know about grace is this. And I realized this about myself when I was making mistakes in romantic relationships. We will take a lot from a significant other, okay? A person that we're intimate, and when I say intimate, it's not just, actual contact. I'm talking about just in an intimate or closer relationship in a certain way. And we will then go to friendships where we expect that same type of intimacy and dismiss them for the smallest of things. I've done it. I've seen other people do it. We will allow others to disrespect, hurt, and abuse us in relationships, okay? And then we'll expect for a friend to be 100% perfect. That's not how it works. We all come with baggage. We all come with things that affect us. And if we're growing and getting better and we're working together on those things, then it should be expected that your friend might come up short sometimes, and you might come up short sometimes. You might have a trauma response. Now, I'm not saying stay there for getting, turning 10 cheeks. Well, I only got 2 cheeks. However, I try to think like this. If I'm going to sit up and take a lot of mess from a person that I am dating that I ain't known for that long, and then throw away a friend of years for something much smaller and less egregious, I need to check myself. I probably need to check myself in both those relationships, right? Because there's probably things happening that shouldn't happen in either one, but I definitely shouldn't be throwing away the friendship and not throwing away the relationship that I consider to be, not that great either. So those are the things that we have to weigh the cost of. And no, y'all know I ain't over here saying that it's your job to fix friends. We don't fix people over here, baby. But it is your job to love them while maintaining your own boundaries and maintaining that for both of you. Making sure that you both have boundaries in the relationship that allow you to get along with one another and know when those hard times come up and to be able to communicate with each other. And that leads me to another thing we do is setting unrealistic expectations in a friendship that leads to disappointment. We have to remember that every friendship is unique and it just evolves at its own pace. It takes on its own life. I've had to learn even in friendships that you don't rush things. You allow nature to take its course. And with that, you have less expectations that lead to disappointment. Like, I can't expect for people to show up for me in certain ways when I've never observed that about them. I can't have these expectations that I've written up in my head and then expect for them to come up to the bat. And they never knew that they were responsible for that in our relationship. I've had those certain situations happen to me. I've had friendships where, boundaries were crossed. People did things that I didn't think was quite right, and I didn't always nip it in the bud, okay? And none of my current friends, thank God, we don't have those types of relationships because we openly discuss issues that we might have. But I can remember at one time, I had a friend. At the time, and this person was always having rough times with everything. Now, I understand everybody falls on rough times. In fact, the world right now, baby, it's giving very much rough, okay? But this person would only find my number when they needed something. Would never really show up at the times that I really needed them, or that I really expected for them to show up, even in those good times. I'm not just talking about the bad times or unloading or dumping trauma on them. I'm talking about even the good times. But this person would always find a way to ask me for stuff. And it got real clear that I was pretty much being used. And when I talked to them about this and I started realizing this pattern, I had basically stated to them, I feel like the expectation of me is to just save you out of any situation that you feel like is happening to you. And this person basically said to me, well, that's what friends are supposed to do. And there was no reciprocity. There was no reciprocal love there. There was no expectation that I could have of this person. And what I realized in that exchange was I couldn't have expectations of people that were unrealistic, and I shouldn't allow others to have expectations of me that are not reasonable, because what it does is it leads to disappointment, and it also leads to an enchantment, a place where a person has either placed you on a pedestal or believes that you're able to deliver all these wonderful things to them, or things that when they're in distress, they are the center of your life, and those expectations are unreal. I live life too. I have my own hard times, and good friends actually understand that. And I had to understand that about other people too. And lastly, not setting boundaries in a friendship. We will talk so much about boundaries that we turn blue, baby. Not setting boundaries in a friendship leads to misunderstandings, and it also can lead to resentment. Boundaries are big in any relationship. It's a big one, y'all. I don't care if it's just a friendship. There are boundaries. Without them, it's so easy to feel taken advantage of or even overwhelmed, or feel like you're too responsible for certain things in this friendship. And let me say this, I still have friends of the male gender. However, I will say that a lot of times in my male friendships, the boundaries were often diffused, okay? And what I mean by that is they weren't always clear, and that sometimes in the past was my own fault. I was often the single girl. When I say the single girl, I would be in relationships, in and out of relationships. Like I said, I kept the man, but but your girl was single sometimes. And I feel like in those situations, I would get tried by some of my male friends. And so boundaries would be easily crossed. Things were said that weren't so friend-like. Y'all pick up what I'm putting down. You smell what I'm cooking. And a lot of times I had to learn that I was allowing those things to be said, not necessarily done, but said. And it didn't make me feel good about myself. It made me feel like the person who was just around and this person could just try to hit on me or whatever when they wanted to. And it could become quite disrespectful. I had to learn to set my own boundaries too. I had to also know that I couldn't have certain types of exchanges or certain types of friendships of the male gender. That just did not work for me. And I often found myself having to question that. I think I could have certain relationships with people, but not those in-depth things where I was telling all my business, talking about my relationships, things like that. The same thing with same gender relationships. I had to be careful about the boundaries that we allowed with one another. My friends know, okay? They know that I'm the type of person that will be there for them at all times. We have that understanding for both, but we also know that we don't deplete each other's energy, resources, time. We don't take away from one another in an effort to only benefit ourselves. We have not only the expectation, but the boundary that we will not be used. We are here for one another, and that is understood. And so we stand up and are there for one another. And so setting those boundaries leads you to feeling more fulfilled in that friendship. And when you don't feel satisfied or fulfilled in the friendship, then you're gonna end up not liking the person. I want to say another word that begins with H, but you're gonna end up not liking the person, and everything's gonna become their fault and their problem. So I urge you to set those boundaries early. Make sure that you understand what you're asking of another person, and don't be afraid to say what you need. Okay? Well, that's all, y'all. And I want to make sure that you remember that real friendships are built on understanding, love, trust, and also mutual respect. Most any relationship is going to be based on those things. So make sure that you share this video with someone who can use it, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. Beautiful brown baby doll. Peace.